The Chishmigiu Park. The Cishmigiu Gardens or Cishmigiu Park are a public park near the center of Bucharest, Romania, spanning areas on all sides of an artificial lake. The gardens' creation was an important moment in the history of Bucharest. They form the oldest, and at 17 hectares the largest park in city's central area. The main entrance is from Queen Elisabeth Boulevard, in front of the General City Hall of the Municipality of Bucharest. There is another major entrance at the Știrbei Vodă Street, near the Crețulescu Palace. The southwestern corner of the park is adjacent to the Gheorghe Lazăr National College. Designed in 1845 by the German landscape architect Carl Mayer, the garden opened to the public in 1860. The name, Cishmigiu, comes from the Turkish çeşme, meaning a public fountain. More than 30,000 trees and plants were brought from the Romanian mountains, while exotic plants were imported from the botanical gardens in Vienna. Cishmigiu hosts plane trees vegetation, liriodendron, magnolias, nut and pear trees, ash and decorative apple trees. There is also an area where swans and pelicans were brought. Cishmigiu is Bucharest's oldest park, and a great place to stroll and enjoy a break from the hectic city. The park is so diverse that you can just explore, and we guarantee that you'll be amazed. From stone structures, imitating caves and wild waterfalls, to hidden gardens, peacocks, children playgrounds and cafes, the park has plenty of things to see. During the summer months you can take a walk in the park, or you can rent bicycles. In winter you can go skating on Chishmigiu skating rink, that is located on the dried-up riverbed side of Chishmigiu Lake, near the pier. Chishmigiu skating rink is the largest skating rink in Bucharest, with a 3,000 square meters area. Romanian Round a Writers' Rotunda is a circular alley which has stone busts of 12 important Romanian writers: Mihai Eminescu, Alexandru Odebescu, Titu Mairescu, Ion Luca Caragiale, George Cobuc, Tefan Octavian Iosif, Ion Creanga, Alexandru Vlahua, Giuliu Zamfiescu, Bogdan Petrasiacu Hasdu, Nicolae Balsescu and Vasile Alexandri. The monument of French heroes commemorates French soldiers who died fighting during the World War I. Romanian campaign. Made in Carrara marble, the French monument was created by the Romanian sculptor Ion Gelea, and was inaugurated on the 25th of October 1922. The Monument of American Heroes commemorates the 378 soldiers who died in Romania during World War II. The granite sculpture is the work of the artist Remus Botaro. Other statues located in Cishmigiu are the one of journalist George Ponu, sculpted by Gheorghe Horvath, and of writer and women's rights activist Maika Smara, 1854–1944, sculpted by Mihai Onofre. Cishmigiu has special zones for children. Right in the middle of the park you will find a nice playground in a safe area. Close to the playground there's a chess players zone, with tables and benches where, every day at any hour you can find some chessmate to play with. If you are in Bucharest and love playing chess, well there's your spot. Also great chance to meet locals, and hear some stories. Cishmigiu has a special dog zone, where you can let him free and play with other dogs without disturbing anyone. The park has plenty of nice cafes and restaurants inside and around it. So if you're tired of walking and strolling the city all day long, Cishmigiu Park it's a great place to relax, have a coffee and enjoy a nice meal. The history of the Cishmigiu Park begins in 1779, when the Prince of Wallachia at the time, Alexandru Ipsilanti, authorized the construction of 2 wells in order to improve the public water supply of the city. The park was built in 1847, at a time when Bucharest was the capital of Wallachia, on a site formerly known as the Lake of Jura the Merchant, or simply as Jura. The pool it replaced was a popular site for fishing from as early as the 17th century, and was inhabited by mallard colonies. A part of the present-day gardens was occupied by a vineyard, which was planted around a water source. The latter had been tapped during the bubonic plague epidemic of 1795, when the two sons of Prince Alexander Marusis took refuge in the largely uninhabited zone. The decision to replace the lake was taken in 1846, during a period of Imperial Russian administration introduced by Regulamentul Organic. It was based on an earlier proposal made by Russian Governor Pavel Kiselyov in 1830, and on various small-scale works had first been undertaken in 1837. The initiative, countersigned by Prince Gheorghe Bibescu, was part of a series of major public works, and the plan dates back to 1844. On the 27th of February 1845, the area passed into public ownership through a princely decree. In 1843, Bibescu had called on experts in horticulture and planning to join in the effort to restructure the city gardens. As a result, two citizens of the German Confederation, the horticulturist Wilhelm Friedrich Karl Mayer, and his assistant, the gardener Franz Horer, arrived in Bucharest, where their first work involved the floral arrangements on each side of Osoa Kiselev. They were to become involved in redesigning Jura area. Mayer was responsible for setting up the new lanes, for planting new floral species, as well as for setting up a romantic landscape with rocks leading down to the lake. The central lake was connected to the Dambovitsa River through a canal. The gardens were ultimately inaugurated on the 23rd of September 1847, and Mayer was appointed their administrator in 1848. Chishmigiu continued to be developed by Mayer long after its official inauguration. The horticulturist laid out a plan to redesign the lanes, to introduce an artesian aquifer, and to create a kiosk for an orchestra. He also proposed to have gondolas carrying visitors over the lake. By 1851, new species of trees were brought in, chestnuts from Gorj County, walnuts from Dambovita County, and other plants from places such as Vienna and Brasov. Since 1857, the park was already regarded as a place for relaxation, being looked for increasingly more often by curious, nature or adventure lovers. During the winter of 1883, when the lake froze, competitions were held here on the ice. Becoming increasingly appreciated, Cishmigiu Garden was extended by 15,000 square meters, after buying the former garden's land owned by the Crețulescu family. In 1882, the gardens were fitted with electrical lighting. 7 years later, the Gheorghe Lazăr High School was built on its southwestern corner. During the late 19th and early 20th century, Chishmigiu became noted for housing the Thierry restaurant, kept by a Frenchman, and various amateur photographers who made affordable portraits. The building in front of the park was assigned to the city hall during the communist regime. Chishmigiu, a traditional meeting spot for Bucharestas, is referred to in several literary works. These notably include several sketch stories by Ion Luca Caragiale, 2 of them involving the collective character Mitica, who has survived in common reference as a stereotype of Bucharestas. In another such piece, titled The 1st of April, the gardens are the scene of a dramatic incident which involves the death of another or the same Mitica. A character named Caracudi, whom Caragiale invented as a caricature of inventive journalists, is shown to elaborate his sensationalist articles while relaxing in various locations of the city, one of which is Chishmigiu. A novel by Grigor Bujanaru, titled Chishmigiu at Comp, traces events in the life of high school students who spend much of their time in the park. The novel The Great Fortune, 1960, part of the Balkan Trilogy series by English writer Olivia Manning, has several scenes set in the gardens.